Ruben Amorim, a man that won his first football game in management 7-1, brought Sporting to their first league title in 19 years, despite not having the budget that Porto and Benfica have. A guy that did well at Braga, winning a trophy there. A guy that has done a lot. He's won 2 league titles at Sporting, is currently top of the league. Let's talk about Amorim. Now, if you don't know why we're talking about Amorim, that's because David Ornstein has dropped an exclusive that United are working on a deal to bring Amorim as head coach, and we're ready to pay the release clause. There's now reports saying that Amorim wants the job, and he's set to come to United. It's moving quick. Now, I don't know if you catch my live stream earlier, but I broke down how Amorim sets up, how he sets up his his team at Sporting, and then we also spoke a little bit about the formation, how it works, and how he could maybe adjust if he came to United, because I think he'd play a 4 at the back this season, get a summer transfer window, then adjust to 5 at the back next season. So I'm going to go through each position and go through what potential lineup I expect to see Amorim play at Man United, who I think maybe he could sell in the future and who we could bring in the future as well. But let's start by talking about Amorim. So if you're wondering, Alice, this has only been announced like 2 hours ago, why have we got so many notes on Amorim? That is because obviously everyone thought he was going to go to Liverpool, and everyone thinks he's going to go to United now. It might fall through. And I had to make videos on Amorim and his tactics and how that applied to Liverpool. Same with Maresca and Chelsea for second channel work and all of that. So a lot of these notes are from when Amorim was linked to Liverpool, but I've updated some of them. So led Sporting to the first title in 19 years, broke a 39-year-old record with Sporting with a 22-game unbeaten streak, led Braga to the Taça da Liga, their first Taça da Liga in 7 years, which is essentially like the Portuguese FA Cup. He also has good records. He guided Sporting to the UCL round of 16 for only the second time in the history. He set a 32-game unbeaten streak record. He only lost 2 games last season as well with Sporting. It was fantastic. Knocked Arsenal out the Europa League a couple of years back when Arsenal Europa League, and won the league last season and is currently top of the league. He's also adjusted a lot this season because he's been criticised in the past, and he had sort of a bad season where he finished 4th, which isn't an awful season, where he was defensively a bit susceptible, which, and out possession was a bit dodgy, and that's something that Ten Hag's been criticised for. But then recently, in this last year and a half, Amorim's really adapted his sort of rest defence and his defensive structure, and there's been mass improvement this season and the back end of last season in Sporting's defensive work as well. So one of the interesting things about Amorim that I've recently seen is that he's actually starting to adapt his tactics, which was one of my concerns. Now, there is a lot of similarities between Ten Hag's Ajax and Amorim's Sporting that we will talk about later on in this video, and I do have concerns about, bringing through youth, playing very similar kind of football to Ten Hag in a weird way in terms of what Ten Hag did at Ajax, sort of directness and all of that. Can he translate it to a harder league? There's going to be question marks about that. But I also think this could be a really exciting appointment for United. He was at Braga before he was at, obviously, Sporting, took over an underperforming Braga side that was mid-table, and, had a 3-month stint there, and he only lost 2 games, which obviously ranges in Europa League. He achieved 10 win and 1 draw in 11 matches when he came in, including games against Lisbon and rivals Sporting and Benfica, difficult games, and he performed so well that Sporting took a massive risk on an unexperienced manager to bring him in, and there was a lot of criticism by Sporting to why they brought him in, and then he goes and wins the league title with Sporting. He delivered their first league title in 19 years, followed by a domestic cup victory. I mean, it feels like it's been 19 years since we won the league. It's only been like 11, so it'd be nice if he could come in and deliver something. Second season, he finished 2nd and won another domestic cup. Third season, he dropped off, he finished 4th, but what he did last season was he massively adapted, won the league again last season, and this season he's currently top of the league, so he's shown that he's able to adapt. And this was some notes that I wrote. He rejuvenated a Sporting side that declined in recent years. He adapted to losing players like Agate, Palhinha, Porro and Nunes, all key signings that he lost. Obviously, 3 of them were midfielders that all won at Man United, Bayern and Man City, now top clubs. And he also focused on youth development. People like Diamonde that he brought in as a young player, he helped develop, bring him into the team, worked really smartly with the recruitment side. And Man United, Ineos, one of the things they've been planning to do is bring in a head coach rather than a manager, so Ineos can deal with the recruitment side and who they bring in. And Amorim is seen as like the guy they would kind of want to work with, and because Amorim's worked really well with obviously the guy that Man City have just brought in, Hugo, at Sporting when it came to signings and backing him as well. He achieved success with Braga and Sporting. He challenged Benfica and Porto, both of whom had significantly larger budgets. So he's shown that he can challenge in that league with less budget than the top 2 and take Sporting right to the top. Obviously won their version of the sort of FA Cup with Braga, delivered the first title in 19 years, developed young players, you see, and also not just young players, but players like Gyökeres, a player that is now one of the best strikers in the world, and Nasio coming through, Diamonde, Porro, Nunes, Paulinho are just some of the talents. So United are looking to bring him in, but let's talk about Amorim. Let's talk about how he sort of lays up. Now, this is the most simplistic version of this. So goalkeeper and centre-backs need to be good on the ball, build up, ball playing. Left centre-back sometimes becomes a left-back at times, so I think that's what Inacio does. I think Leach will long-term do that role, but you could see Shaw do that role, and Leach be used as a central centre-back, and either De Ligt or Euro be used as a right centre-back, just because of like the short-termness of it, and then maybe potentially long-term develops into that. Right back, it's got to be someone that is technical. Mazraoui and Delo are both technical. I don't think there is an attacking enough as what he'd want, but they're technical. They can go into midfield, which is what he would want. The 6 must be a good ball winner that can cover large space, but Agate was his 6, so we don't need to say any more on that. 8 must be technical top creator. I wouldn't be shocked if he tried Bruno Fernandes as an 8, but I do think Kobbie Mainoo suits that role absolutely perfect. Bruno could also be a shadow striker. Now, he kind of likes two sort of forwards. And Xerxes and Højlund could work together here. Now, he had a right forward and a shadow striker on the left. I think he could have Rashford as the left forward, and then he could have Xerxes as a shadow striker on the right, Højlund as the complete striker doing the Gyökeres role. So people have a few questions around his formation, how it works, and that's what I'm going to break down now. So he likes a very fluid attack. He likes to attack with 5. He likes to generate overloads, stretch the width. There is similarities to Erik ten Hag's Ajax, but he is more focused on defensive stability than Ten Hag. In his debut season, he had the best defence in the league with Sporting. This season, he had the lowest XG conceded against, and the season before, he had the lowest XG against, but he did rank 3rd for goals conceded. Every player plays a role defensively and presses intensively man-to-man to win back the ball. Similarities to Ten Hag there, the pressing. Højlund can do that, Mount can do that, Bruno can do that, Garnacho can do that. High defensive line and high press means that it's not a defensive system, despite it being 5 at the back because of how high the players play. Huge goal scoring output, most goals this season. The only worrying thing for me is Gyökeres is like almost doubled his XG by outperforming it. Could Højlund be able to do that? Which I think is why they score so many goals. Sporting's played possession football, creating a lot of chances. That's something we struggle to do. I think Højlund, they're quite direct in attack, could thrive off that, especially because he likes a striker that's going to run in behind, run the channels. That's what Højlund does. And Sporting like to control games, break down defences. So Amorim may adapt in his first season to maybe something like this, maybe more of a 4-3-3. And then I think in his second season, he could further adapt. I think the left and the right side could swap profiles because I think Antony and Garnacho can play on the right and they can play a lot deeper than someone like Rashford. And I can't play really deep either just because of their work rate and their defensive contributions. Now, in goal, I think it's just going to be Onana. I don't think he's going to change that. He's good on the ball. He's good at playing up from the back. Centre-backs, I think long term it will be Euro over De Ligt because Euro, just you've got to think of the profile he is and will come. But he likes to build up through the centre-backs. He likes the centre-backs to be able to find those line-breaking passes and even sometimes play it into the forwards. I think Leach will play the same role as Inacio long-term, but Leach could operate as a central centre-back or in the short term with Luke Shaw maybe being a left centre-back and maybe Antony or Garnacho has tried a left wing-back. Who knows? I actually think he's just going to play 4 at the back if he came into United this season. We're going to talk into that in more detail. I think Euro could be the Diamonde in the system. I think De Ligt and Maguire also able to break lines, play line-breaking passes. I think in the summer he would sign another centre-back because he'd probably want to play 3 centre-backs. And he needs centre-backs that are good at progressing the ball on the pitch. And I do think we actually have that now. The wing-back needs to maintain a wide position, spread the opposition out. They need to go forward and attack. He likes to attack with 5, but they also need to be able to drop back. They need to assist in the build-up. And also they need to be able to make overlapping runs, underlapping runs. But they also need to be people that can drop into midfield. They need to be highly technical. He likes one wing-back that can stay really wide and one wing-back that almost can drop in midfield. One wing-back's a bit more defensive than the other. So there's talk of Antony being a left wing-back. I think Antony's done at United, or Garnacho being a left wing-back but Delo and Mazraoui can be the right wing-back because the right wing-back could tuck him. There is talk of that. So let's talk about the defence and how it could line up. Now, I'm going to be totally honest. I think you'd see Shaw as sort of the left centre-back, Martinez as a central centre-back, and Euro De Ligt as the right centre-back, right back Delo and Mazraoui, and then I think Garnacho could play left wing, but slightly deeper left wing. But I think in the long term, you'd see Leach be the left side of the back 3, but I think in the short term, he could be the central one. We're going to get into more detail about that. Agate would surely be the 6, wins the ball, good tackler, did really well as the 1 in the 3-1-6 out of possession structure under Amorim, which is what Ten Hag tried to implement at United and didn't work, which I think is why Ineos were eager to bring him in. He can shield the defence and help Amorim keep a smooth defensive structure. Agate, I think, will be the number 6. Casemiro is there, but his legs have gone. The number 8, I think Mainoo long-term is the number 8. And I think there will be another number 8 that comes in for depth. But I think he could utilise Bruno deeper. I wouldn't be shocked to play Bruno deeper. I believe when they were, I think there was a little bit where him and Bruno were sporting together. Bruno did play a lot deeper, so we could play Bruno Fernandes deeper. The attack, Højlund is going to do the Gyökeres role, running the channels. I think Højlund could be monstrous. He likes wide forwards that can drift in the half space. I think that could be Rashford and Ahmad. Garnacho maybe as well. Xerxes, he likes a wide forward for support. He likes a support striker. One of his forwards practically a second striker. That could be Xerxes. That could be Rashford. The wing backs, you could see Garnacho and Antony giving a go at the wing back because he likes one wing back to be very attacking. I think Shaw, if he could stay fit, could work. Mazraoui, Delo could all be utilised. And he likes the centre backs and midfielders to be able to break lines and field fast attacks. He likes to be direct. So in terms of potential setup, I think you could see something more long term of Leach being the left centre back, Euro being the central centre back, maybe Delo or Mazraoui acting as a right centre back. Potentially, that could be De Ligt there as well. And then Shaw is sort of the left winger. And then I think front three of Rashford, Ahmad, Højlund if he wants to play wider. But I wouldn't be surprised if Xerxes uses a support striker and Rashford's used as the left forward with either Maino or Bruno partnering Agate. Or he could do four at the back with Shaw, Leach, Euro, Mazraoui. And then he could try Agate, Maino, Bruno, Rashford, Højlund, Ahmad front three. I think he could potentially adjust the system short term and then longer term goes to more of a three at the back like that. I think in the long term, you'll be looking at a new centre-back, new wing-back, maybe two, new forward, and new midfielder for depth. I think Leach does the Inacio role, Euro does the Diamonde role, maybe De Ligt is right centre-back, but you could bring someone else in there. I think they'll definitely be they probably would want Alphonso Davies a really attacking left wing-back. I think Bruno could probably be moved on because of age, and Agate and Maino pivot. I think they'll look at Højlund up top, but they may want a new striker to help Højlund out because he sort of plays with two strikers and then Rashford and Garnacho on the left. It'll be interesting to see how he utilises the wingers and the forward line, but I do think Amorim could be a really good addition for United because of his tactical intelligence, versatility, competes with financially stronger teams and has done well, has got consistent results, has developed players, has developed young players, and has better charisma than Ten Hag, communicates better with the fans, the media than Ten Hag. He's quite praised for that. So there's definitely a lot of positives. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.